In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. The elder Arseni of Romania said that if the person who knows that there is eternity and doesn't take any action to prepare for it deserves to be locked up in the madhouse. By elder Arseni's definition, modern Western mankind is indeed mad, because most of our society doesn't take any action at all in preparation for eternity. Even those who call themselves Christians take very little action to prepare for eternity. And one might even observe that those who are within the Orthodox Church take very minor action at best to prepare for eternity. And many of our Orthodox brethren take no action at all either. They assume that because they're in the historic church that that's a passport to heaven, kind of like the evangelical idea that I'm saved. It's not a Christian idea. You can't have a passport to heaven. And so we have to take action to prepare for eternity, as Elder Arseni has said. The same madness is shown on a small scale in today's gospel reading, where the Lord heals 10 lepers, and only one of them recognizes that God did it. The rest just go on their merry way. Or, at best, they realize that God did it, but it wasn't a big deal. It's not a big deal. I was cured of a lifelong disease, something of which I could never be cured, certainly in that time could never be cured. And maybe God did it, but that's just the way it is. It's not a big deal. St. Cyril of Alexandria says that in healing the 10 lepers, Christ sends them to the priest to confirm their healing, but he's the one who does it. He's the one who actually heals them, not the Old Testament temple. He does what the law requires, the law of the Jews requires, but it's him who does the miracle. And so there is no excuse for these men not to understand. And so too, brothers and sisters, there is no excuse for us not to understand. Even as we're walking through the shopping mall at Christmas time, and we hear pop Christmas songs like Boney M or something like this, a lot of their words remind us of the reality that Christ is God come to be with us here on earth. We have no excuse not to know. We have no excuse not to prepare. St. Cyril of Alexandria says that what the 9 lepers who leave without thanking the Lord do not recognize, and 90% of the lepers who are healed don't recognize, is the same thing as our society fails to recognize each year at this time. That Christmas is not about Jesus being a kind teacher who wants to teach us how to be kind. If you went to the public schools, you'd think that if they mentioned anything at all, that was the point of Christmas. That's actually not the point of Christmas. There are lots of people historically who can teach us to be kind people. It's not about giving gifts like the wise men or St. Nicholas. Although that's a good thing, and I would never discourage, especially parents, from giving gifts to their children. I'd be a very unpopular priest if I did that. It's not even about Christ being the greatest gift of all, although that is true. That's not the main point of Christmas. The main point of Christmas is, in fact, like the hymns that we sing at Nativity, say that God is with us. God has come to be with us here on the earth to redeem the earth in this life and in the next, and to open the way to heaven for us. That's the point of Christmas. Even, brothers and sisters, as you watch the Peanuts Christmas Carol, Charlie Brown Christmas, little Linus, who everyone dismisses as sort of the immature kid, even he understands that. But like everywhere else, 90% of the others don't. St. Athanasius says that it's interesting that only the foreigner, the Samaritan, sees this. It's the one who is least expected to see it. The most unlikely, and the minority among the group of 10. It's crazy that we should miss that Christ is God come to be with us on earth. Yet most people do miss this. Even most people who are Christians have minds that fly away from this reality. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman historian, who is not a Christian and not a saint of the church, says that the object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane. It is, brothers and sisters, truly insane for those of us who have been told that Christ is God come to be with us on earth to redeem the world, not to prepare ourselves for eternity. That's crazy. That's crazy. And yet the way most individuals, most nations today, who call themselves Christian nations, or at least have a majority Christian population like ours does, and even most religious people, it's crazy that they don't prepare themselves, and that we too often do not prepare ourselves for the reality of eternity that Christ has opened up to us. To celebrate Christmas for what it is to celebrate that God has become man. It will always be strange, this reality. It will always be strange to the world. And 90% of people will react as if this is a very absurd and unbelievable piece of news. Yet it is the only real sanity. St. Anthony the Great said that in the latter days the world will be so mad that they will see a sane man and say, he is mad. He is not like us. And we've come to that time. We've come to that time. And so, brothers and sisters, like Marcus Aurelius says, we have to decide whether we are going to be on the side of the majority, but more importantly, whether we're going to be on the side of the sane. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Christ is among us.